particularly His Excellency Ahmed Aliu Sokoto, PhD, FCNA, the Executive Governor of Sokoto State, who's represented here today by His Excellency Alhaji Idris Mohammed Gobir, the Deputy Governor of Sokoto State. You're welcome. We have also with us, Your Excellencies, the Executive Governor of Bauchi State, His Excellency Distinguished Senator Bala Muhammad Abdul Kadir, the Kauram Bauchi, who is represented here today by the Honorable Commissioner for Lands and Survey, TPL Abdullahi Muhammad. You're welcome. In his entourage, we also have the Commissioner for Housing and Environment, Alhaji Dallami Ahmed Kaule. You're welcome, sir. We also have the Honorable Commissioner for Information, Alhaji Ibrahim. You're welcome. Please put your hands together for them. Also with us here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, is our chairman for today, one who is variously described in different capacities. Many still remember his days as the head of MAMSA. But for us, and for those special statements he made in those days, but we especially know him in various capacities: minister, senator, head of any agency he touches. Nowadays, he's just a politician ensuring change from the grassroots. Please put your hands together as I welcome our father, our elder statesman, Professor Jerry Ghana. Please put your hands together for him. I'm sure if that statement was made nowadays, he will add and say, this part, make sure you build very well. Please put your hands together for him. We want to specially appreciate our host for today. Our chief host is none other than the Honorable Minister for Housing and Urban Development, our friend, calm, gentle, but dedicated, committed to building and ensuring that everyone who deserves a house gets a house. Distinguished guest, since assuming office in 2023, he has stood as a master planner of Nigeria's housing renaissance. Like an architect with a grand blueprint, he has been laying the foundation of housing, erecting policies that rise like strong pillars, and constructing bridges between innovation and accessibility. Under his watch, the ministry has embraced bold reforms and accelerated housing delivery. He has helped to strengthen mortgage systems and champion urban renewal. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Ahmed, thank you. Please put your hands together for him. May I also especially appreciate our royal father for today, His Royal Majesty Obrilwan Babatunde Oshule Olale Aremu Akiolu I, the 24th of Lagos, who is represented here by an entourage, and we see his presence with us here. Among those who are represented, Chief Latif Aderibigbe Ajose, the Okpelua of Lagos, and Chief Tajuddin Abisogun, the Ojon of Lagos. You're welcome. Let me also at this time especially appreciate all the Red Cap chiefs in this hall, all those who were properly turbaned or given their staff of office by proper obas and emirs and obis, and those who out of confidence and courage went to Kaswamberchi and bought their own caps. Please, let's put our hands together for them. May we also specially appreciate and welcome the representative of the Honorable Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology. We have Chief Uche Geoffrey Naji, who's represented here also by an entourage. First, may I appreciate the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mrs. Eswabana Nko Esanye. You're welcome. We have also the Director General and CEO of Nigeria Building and Road Research Institute, Professor Samson Duna, the Director General and CEO of the National Space Research and Development Agency, Dr. Matthew Olumide Adepoju. You're welcome. Permit me to also specially welcome the Statistician General of the Federation and Chief Executive Officer of the National Bureau of Statistics, Prince Adeyemi Adeniran. Please put your hands together for him. I need to specially recognize the representative of the Honorable Minister of State of the FCT, Dr. Maria Mahmood, who's represented here today by the Director of Housing of the Satellite Towns Development Department of the FCTA, Architect Incheta Ononopono. You're welcome. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to also especially welcome the Chairman of the Board of Trustees for Radar, Town Planner David A. Ganva. You're welcome, sir.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, are you having a good time already? Please turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, you look good. Say it in your language, please. Very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I quickly recognize the presence of the Director General of NEMA, Mrs. Zubeida Umar. Please, a round of applause for her. Ma'am, you're welcome. I'd also like to quickly recognize the delegation from Ghana Parliament. Please, a round of applause for them. Can you please stand up for recognition? Ghana Parliament, can you please stand? Let's see you. You're welcome, very much welcome. Hope you have had a taste of our jollof rice. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have delegates from South Africa. Can they stand up? A round of applause for them. South Africa, where are you? Also from Kenya. Delegates from Kenya, please, can you stand so that we recognize you? You're very much welcome. And from Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire. A round of applause for them. You're very much welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, may we inform you that this is a hybrid event, and you can watch from wherever you are, whatever part of the country you are. Also in this place, there are 3 halls where you can watch us from. So the standing is not good optics. All those standing, if you do not have space to sit down, please, there are halls outside there where you can watch from. This information is coming from the top. Please, we do not want people standing. Just go by the side. There are 3 halls where you can stay and watch us live. Thank you very much.
Well, we will also specially welcome His Excellency, Mr. Kofi Ungusan, the Mayor and Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of Interme Group, Côte d'Ivoire, Abidjan. He is, of course, into real estate. You're welcome. Bon arrivé. May we also specially appreciate His Excellency S.E. Pascaline Yakivu, Ambassador Extraordinary, Embassy of Congo. You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, with us here this morning is the Chairman, Presidential Committee of Financial Reform, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. Please, a round of applause for him. You're welcome, sir.
The representative, the UN Women Country Representative to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Ms. Beatrice Eyong, represented by Mr. Zafanaya. You're welcome. Also with us here is the National Chairman of the Association of Women Town Planners of Nigeria. May I especially welcome Town Planner Rukayat A. Fashe, FNITP. You're welcome, ma'am.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, year in, year out, these people dot the I's and cross the T's to make sure that the Africa International Housing Show is a success. May we please recognize the board members of the AIHS. Can you please stand for recognition? Board members of the Africa International Housing Show. Definitely will recognize you individually in the course of this occasion. You're welcome.
May I especially welcome also Chief Steve Onu, past president of the Institute of Town Planners. You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much. May we also specially welcome Chokado, COO. Thank you very much for coming. CEO Lexon Steve is our. We have Surveyor Suleiman Hassan chairman of the board. Please hands together for him. Thank you all. We have here who has worked hard to make housing available and easy. Director mortgage. Well, together. Thank you. Is any man get the done? Is this man makes it easy? When you talk about money, it's difficult. But your money and your house, and it talks together.
And recognize of the chairman of
May I especially welcome the President and Chief Executive Officer of FINPA Africa, Dr. Emmanuel Akinwumi. Please put your hands together for him. May I especially welcome the Chairman, Presidential Technical Committee on Land Reforms, Professor Yahaya. You're welcome. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much, sir. May I especially welcome also past President, Nigeria Institute of Town Planners, coordinator of the National Ategbije Foundation for Planning Advocacy, Town Planner Nathaniel Ategbije. You're welcome, sir. Please put your hands together for him. Former Honorable Commissioner of Lagos State, I think you are still honorable, and past President NITP, second Deputy President of APBN, Town Planner Toyin Ainde. Please put your hands together for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we quickly recognize the presence of the president of the NITP, Town Planner Dr. Andrew Chime. Please, a round of applause. You're very much welcome, sir. And also the president of the NSE, Erelu Engineer Margaret Oguntala, President NSE. Please, a round of applause for her.
May we specially welcome the Managing Director, Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, Engineer Uzoma Nwagba. You're welcome. Please put your hands together.
President of the Nigeria Society of Engineers, Gunta, President. She was asking me what is NSE. I know. You're welcome, ma.
We also want to specially welcome the Chairman, Board of Trustees of Association of Housing Corporation of Nigeria, GMB Corpin, Dr. Ugochukwu Chime. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much, sir. We have also with us Dr. Ada Fung, the professor of University of Hong Kong and founding president, Building Smart Hong Kong chapter. You're welcome.
Architect Ezekiel Ayo, EDFHA, you're very much welcome, sir. Federal Housing Authority, you're welcome, sir.
We have also with us the CEO, Innovative Risk and Investment Solutions Limited, Professor Charles Iyangede. You're welcome, sir. Please put your hands together for him.
Commissioners for Housing, Bauchi. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we want to also recognize the commissioners of housing from Bauchi, Sokoto, Kano, Cross Rivers, and Benue State. Please, a round of applause for them, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I quickly also recognize the presence of Mr. Hakim Oguniron, the MD, CEO, Eximia Realty Limited. Please, a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome, sir. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, more recognition of this occasion. May we please rise. Media, please. The media is not ready, so we'll just sing the national anthem. 1, 2, go.
Nigeria's home, how proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Shall be a symbol where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
A round of applause for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. And if you did not sing while others were singing, this is an assignment. Go and learn the national anthem. You're very much welcome.
Your Excellency, our special guest of honors for today, former head of state, represented by Professor S.E. Bogoro. Your Excellencies, the representative of the Executive Governor of Sokoto State, Your Excellency, the representative of the Executive Governor of Bauchi State, our chairman for today, Professor Jerry Ghana, scholar, politician, senator, and many other special roles. Your Excellency, the representative of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, distinguished Senator George Akume, who's represented here today by Ikenge Francis. Welcome. Our chief host, the Honorable Minister for Housing and Urban Development, the Minister of State for FCT, the keynote speaker, represented by Mohammed Garba, co-founder of Cardinal Stone, our royal father for today, chairman of the AIHS board and other board members here present, the managing director of Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Shehu Usman Osidi, and other heads of government agencies and departments, the board chairman of RIDAN, presidents, past presidents, chairmen, and former chairman of all unions, associations, and professional bodies in the build sector, distinguished invited guests and delegates from outside Nigeria, our partners and sponsors. May I also specially appreciate our exhibitors. Distinguished guests, esteemed dignitaries, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and welcome to the 19th edition of the Africa International, the grand edifice of ideas, the solid foundation upon which Africa's housing future is being built. Today we gather under one roof, supported by pillars of innovation and beams of collaboration to construct a new chapter in the history of African housing. This year's theme, Reimagining Housing, Collaboration and Policy, is not just a blueprint, it is an architectural plan for a brighter tomorrow. Over the next 4 days, We will lay bricks of knowledge, erect walls of policy, and install windows of opportunity to let in the light of sustainable housing solutions. This gathering is a scaffolding for partnership that will lift our continent to a new height in housing and urban development. And that is why we have here the Honorable Minister himself partnering and supporting. This year, over 21 countries will contribute their building blocks, joining hands with more than 400 exhibitors and thousands of visitors, from master builders to policy designers and housing financiers. Together, we will strengthen the beams of public-private partnership. AIHS 2025 is a strong bridge linking Nigeria free zones and international investors, and creating a solid framework for sustainable growth. But every great structure needs a cornerstone. And so for AIHS, that cornerstone is Barrister Festus Adebayo, a passionate housing advocate, a legal architect, a mediapreneur. He has laid the foundation stone for this great platform and continues to rise and raise his pillars higher each year. His vision has been built not just as an event, but an enduring institution. And this indeed is what he has achieved. Standing as a central column of support for our strategic partnership is the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. This partnership forms the steel frame for our collective effort to deliver homes for all. And we salute the Honorable Minister Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, the Chief Architect of Nigeria's Renew Hope Cities. His bold design for affordable housing and innovative mortgage systems is something we are seeing afresh. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, together we are here constructing not just houses, but homes. Not just homes, but hope. For the next 3 days, let us raise walls of ideas and install new ideas of creativity. Let's pave pathways for opportunity. Every session is titled A Tile of Mosaic of Africa's Housing Future. Plan your beam and cement your connections, because together we are building something extraordinary. I think at this point we can put our hands together, especially to appreciate Barrister Festus and his team, and especially thank the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development for this great support, for making it better each year. Please put your hands together for him. And so, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to specially welcome us here today, permit me to invite the Chairman of the AIHS Board, one who has been there helping to guide, helping to supervise, and helping to be sure that everything works according to the master plan. May I invite Surveyor Suleiman Hassan Zarna to come and do us a welcome address. Please put your hands together for him.
The special guest of honor, the revered General Yakubu Gawan, ably represented by Professor Suleiman Bogoro, the chairman for today's occasion, Professor Jerry Gana, an Asianist by excellence before any other thing. Representatives of the executive governors, the Honorable Minister, Housing and Urban Development, permit me to stand on the existing protocol well established by the Masters of Ceremony. Distinguished guests, valued partners, esteemed exhibitors, ladies and gentlemen, it is with immense honor and profound privilege that I welcome each and every one of you to the 19th African International Housing Show 2025. Your presence here today signifies a shared commitment as we collectively embark on reimagining through innovation, and policy. To our esteemed heads, legislators, ministers, members of the diplomatic corps, commissioners, heads of international organizations such as United Nations Habitat, World Bank, African Development Bank, African Union for Housing Finance, chief executive officers, presidents of professional bodies, and all distinguished guests, thank you for gracing us with your presence. Your leadership and presence, dedication are invaluable. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to Nigeria and the vibrant city of Abuja for once again serving as our gracious hosts. The Africa International Housing Show has consistently served as a vital platform for dialogue and partnership among key stakeholders in the housing sector. Your unwavering support and engagement have been instrumental in its continued success. This year, we are especially proud to co-host this landmark event with the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. This is a testament of our tireless advocacy and a shared national recognition of the urgent need for robust policy frameworks to address Africa's housing deficit. We extend a warm welcome to our esteemed VIP guest speakers, sponsors, partners, whose presence is vital to the success of this show. Each of you bring unique insights and groundbreaking innovative solutions that are crucial in shaping the future of housing in Africa. This platform offers an unparalleled opportunity to forge connections with potential partners, investors, and policymakers who share our common vision. As we gather for this 19th edition, we reflect on nearly 2 decades of unwavering dedication to advancing Africa. The AIHS has evolved the exhibition into a profound movement towards a better housed Africa. Our journey has been marked by tangible successes. We have facilitated millions of dollars in housing investments, influenced critical policy changes in some African countries, including land titling reforms, and showcased over 100 innovative building technologies. These achievements are a testament to what we can accomplish together, and they lay a strong foundation for the ambitious goal we set for this year. The scale before us is immense. Sub-Saharan Africa alone faces a staggering housing deficit estimated at over 50 million units, a stark reality that impacts millions of lives and hinders economic progress. This challenge is further intensified by Africa's rapid urbanization, with projections indicating that 50% of the continent's population will reside in urban areas by 2030. Key barriers persist, including prohibitively high construction costs, limited access to housing finance, and inadequate supporting infrastructure. However, this deficit is not merely a problem, it is a profound opportunity. It represents $1 billion opportunity for investment, fostering innovation, and driving sustainable development. Addressing this gap isn't about building houses, it is about unlocking profound socioeconomic benefits. Imagine the millions of jobs created across the value chain, from construction to logistics and services. Envision the improved quality of life, health, and productivity that these affordable homes provide, fostering stronger communities and stable families. This is the future we are here to build. We have a collective responsibility and an unparalleled opportunity to drive this transformation. This show is not just a conference, it is a call for action for every stakeholder, policy maker, developers, financiers, innovators, and individuals to rise to the occasion, innovate, and collaborate effectively. Our vision is clear: to transfer African housing landscape through innovation, collaboration, and sustainable practices. Building upon our 2024 theme of Housing for All, Financing the Housing We Need, the 19th edition in 2025 places an empathic focus on reimagining housing through innovation, collaboration, and policy. This year, our agenda delves into critical areas such as focusing on practical, scalable solutions to meet demand, emphasizing sustainable building practices, climate resilient housing, and renewable energy integration, highlighting the importance of inclusive development, models that engage and benefit local populations. Exploring the transformative role of PropTech, 3D printing, smart city concepts, and other digital advancements. Developing strategies for mobilizing capital for real estate development and housing finance across Africa. Throughout this event, we will engage in thought-provoking discussions, share pioneering ideas, and explore best practices that will drive us towards our collective goal. Your diverse expertise and perspectives are invaluable in bringing these solutions to fruition and truly reimagining Africa's built environment. We urge policymakers to accelerate legislative reforms, financial institutions to innovate funding mechanisms, and developers to embrace sustainable and inclusive practices. With participants from many countries present, I strongly encourage you to seize this incredible opportunity to network, build lasting relationships, and seal impactful deals. Let's leverage this platform to create tangible commitments and drive actionable change. On behalf of the AIHS board, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to each of you for your active participation and commitment. Together, we can pave the way for a sustainable, inclusive housing future for all Africans. Thank you for being here. Let's make the 19th Africa International Housing Show a transformative experience.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for him. He's the one helping to steer the ship of AIHS. Thank you. May I especially appreciate one man who has been there from the very beginning and particularly adding color to our gala night each year. May I especially welcome the Chief Executive Officer of Octo 5, His Excellency Jide Odusolu. You're welcome. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much. We are honored to have you today, and we know you will stay till the end. We have also with us, representing the Honorable Commissioner of Housing and Urban Development of Plateau State, Barrister Yop Ruang is with us here today, the Permanent Secretary. Thank you very much. We have you. Also with us here is the representative of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. We have Honorable Abdurrahman Tarib, is represented here by Honorable Honorable Avike Daviri Erewa is representing the CEO. The CEO is being represented by Honorable Abdurrahman Tarib. Thank you very much. We're honored to have you. Also here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, is the Chairman, Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, Builder Samson Amel Palua. Thank you very much for the honor of coming. We have also the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, represented by Kemi Ahmed Yusuf, Director of Federal Integrated Staff Housing. Ladies and gentlemen, is Shirley K, Member of the Parliament of Ghana. May I especially singular the Chairman, Works and Housing Committee of the of Ghana, Honorable Vincent Opong Asamoah. You're welcome, sir. Also with us here is the MD of Crodicorp, Engineer Uzoma Wagba. Thank you very much for the honor of being with us. Also here is the President of Redan, Prince Akintoye Adeoye. You're welcome. Dr. M.K. Balogun, FP, member of the Board of Trustees of Housing TV. We have Al Hassan B.A., welcome, and Honorable Ayodeji Joseph, MD, Lagos Development and Property Corporation, Lagos State. Thank you very much. The honor of being with us. May I especially bring one man who goes into places but he calmly makes no noise. Only you feel his presence and his impact. The Chairman, Presidential Committee on Financial Reforms, who's been very, very active, not only as one who makes policies, but one who has been empowered the strength to execute them. Let's welcome Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. You're welcome. Please put your hands. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today we are discussing housing, particularly turning people from into landlords. But one big challenge in Abuja, particularly the introduction of the Ban A, Ban B issue for power, is the fact that when you go into a house, you have been advised these days that we should check the NEPA bill. Rented an apartment in 2 months ago. He paid 5 million for 1 year, but the house was already owing 9 million in NEPA bill. So he came to ask me, say, which one should he pay first? The house or the NEPA bill? So it depends from. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, there's someone at the back who has asked that I should not recognize him because of his position as a tradition. We grew up together trying to become professionals. He wanted to be a doctor and I wanted to be something else. But after 4 years of writing JAM, he decided to apply in a shrine. He's now a qualified native doctor. He's seated at the back. Please put your hands together for him. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move very quickly because of time. I want to say welcome once again and thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the Yorubas say that when a child has offended men, they use his father's name to apologize. But when he has offended the gods, they use his mother's name to apologize. On that note, I'd like to introduce a woman of substance, the first woman that I will be introducing, so permit me to be biased. Please help me warmly celebrate, recognize, put your hands together for the MD, Egypt Social Housing Fund, Dr. May Hamid. Ma'am, please stand so that we, if you're not clapping, you're wrong. Dr. May. It's such a joy. Thank you. To goodwill messages, I want to go ahead and promise you that right from this moment, we will not waste your time. In a short while, we'll move to bigger discussions. I have never lied before. I only so I'm here for longer. Forgive me. I'd like to say the representative of the UN Habitat. Sir, the microphone is yours for the 2 minutes so that we can take goodwill messages. After that, we will representative of the Ghana Palia with us. And we will continue in that again it's time for, and the first on my list is the representative. You give me a wave, I come. All right, I can see him applause makes his way here. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. While he's joining us, I recognize very quickly the President and CEO, FIMPA Africa, Dr. Emmanuel Akinwumi. Sir, it's such a pleasure to have you. Thank you, sir.
Good morning to everyone. The special guests of honor, they are very highly revered former head of state, the chairman of this occasion, equally revered Professor Jerry Ghana. Morning, sir. Our special host, the Honorable Minister, thank you for being here. I'm delivering a very brief message on behalf of UN Habitat, that is the United Nations Human Settlements Program. It is a great pleasure that the UN Habitat extends its felicitations to this distinguished cross-section of the housing delivery fraternity in Nigeria. here represented at the opening ceremony of the 19th African International Housing Show, largest construction event on the continent. We are proud to note that the African International Housing Show has over the years provided a critical platform that has contributed immensely to, and I quote, shaping housing policies, facilitating real estate investment, and fostering partnerships between the public and private sector. This is happening on a continent in desperate need of effective and enduring housing solutions that can adequately curtail the widening gap between the rising housing populations that require decent but affordable housing and enhance the capacities of existing housing delivery systems to meet these needs. Honorable Minister, just last year, one of UN Habitat's public programs, the 2024 annual report on adequate housing, raised a clarion call, drawing the attention of to what has intents and purposes become a global affordable housing crisis. Indeed, the numbers speak for themselves. Today, there are an estimated 2.8 billion people globally. That's about a quarter of the total world's total population who do not have access to safe, adequate, and healthy housing, thereby limiting their enjoyment of basic rights, including the right to work, the right to health, the right to social security, education, and many others. Distinguished guests, unfortunately, many of the factors that drive this housing delivery gap known to us, and of course, very well known of that. Among them, policy approach to implementing of strategies. In Nigeria, for instance, the dearth of critical data, such as the precise scale of the nation's housing deficit and the absence of evidence-based needs and affordability data, remain a major limitation to sustainable public housing programs and viable private initiatives. As it has been said, if you cannot measure it, you cannot fix it. UN Habitat Executive Director, Ms. Anna Claudia Rochberg, has presented the situation quite precisely, saying, the global housing crisis is no longer just about housing. It is a wake-up call for action. We must think housing of climate action and sustainable development. It is in this regard that the theme for this year's African International Housing Show, which is reimagining housing through innovation, collaboration, and policy, is not only particularly apt, it is also extremely timely. And we commend the foresight of the organizers in recognizing this urgent need for national discourse. We are proud to disclose that in like manner, the work plan for the subsisting memorandum of understanding between UN Habitat and the government of Nigeria is aligned with UN Habitat's strategic plan 2026 to 20, which prioritizes housing and is aligned housing, land, and basic services. It's also aligned with the renewed hope agenda of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration and urban development. On its part, the government across the breadth of its mandate through advocacy in development frameworks at all levels and pushing for desperate equitable funding flows. Please, Honorable Minister, sir, accept the assurances of best and committed support to your efforts. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, sir. Please, can we do that round of applause a bit more warmly? Thank you. I'd like to welcome very quickly for goodwill message, the representative of the Ghana Parliament, who is the Chairman, Works and Housing Committee, Honorable Vincent Opong Asamawa. Please, can we put our hands together for him as he comes forward? Thank you.
Our special guest of honor, Prof. the Chair, I revere traditional rulers, the building industry. I want to stand on the established protocols whilst I make some few remarks. It will be very, very brief. Your Excellencies, I bring you warm fraternal greetings from the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, and in particular from the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, whose goodwill I have the honor and privilege to convey to this distinguished gathering. On behalf of the Speaker and myself, I extend sincere appreciation to the government of the African International Housing Show for creating this enduring continental platform that convenes decision makers, experts, and stakeholders committed to transforming African housing and infrastructure landscape. Ghana, like presented here today, continues to grapple with significant housing shortfall, estimated at about 1.8 million units. Through a combination of legislative reform, public-private partnerships, and international strengthening, we are advancing policies aimed at expanding access to decent, affordable housing for all citizens, particularly in the underserved. Moreover, recent flooding events and coastal erosion in Ghana, as reported across local and international media, underscores the urgency of integrating climate resilience in housing and infrastructure planning. Parliament, through its committees and legislative interventions, remains fully committed to supporting frameworks that promote sustainability, safeguard investments, and protect vulnerable communities. We believe strongly that Ghana's future rests on robust intercountry collaboration. Forums such as the African International Housing Show allow us not to share innovations, but also to learn from each other's challenges and solutions. As Parliament of Ghana continues to champion legislative diplomacy and regional integration, and this occasion presents yet another opportunity bonds. As we gather here over the coming days to deliberate, share, and innovate, may we do so with renewed sense of urgency and collective purpose to deliver affordable, inclusive, and climate-smart housing solutions for our people. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Please, may you put your hands together for him. He has assured us that before he leaves for Ghana, he will have a very fresh taste of our own jollof rice. Please clap for him. I'm sure at the end of this conference, you'll be able to testify whose jollof rice is superior. I have a few people to just especially welcome one woman who made history, who after 41 years of the establishment of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, FCT Council, there had never been a female as chairman. For the first time, she broke the gas ceiling and brought on board innovation for less than 1 year. May I, chairman of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, FCT Council, Comrade Grace Ike. She's here with our members of our ESCO. Please put your hands together for her. Can you rise, please? All right, I hear that they are doing interviews outside. Thank you very much, Madam Grace. We have also with us the Deputy Director of Housing, representing the Secretary of FCDA. We have this and Abuja FNIA with us here. Thank you very much for coming through. Also with us is from Plural Crown Limited, DDGJ Adesimoye, you're welcome. Also with us here, ATM BPO of Mortgage Refinance Company, Taufik Olatinwo. Put your hands together for him. There are speeches to very, very beautiful ones that we have had here today. And for me, key among them is the one that I'm expecting to come up. I remember the verse invited, and I shared it before, for the commissioning of a bridge that will link two big villages. We were on the bridge, and the minister had not read his speech. PA managed to print only one copy. And while we were on the bridge and he was about to collect the paper from his PA to read the speech, there was a bad wind that came and took the paper from the PA's hand to and the minister looked at us, looked at his PA, at the small crowd that was gathered on the bridge, and he made the shortest ministerial speech ever. He looked at the speech and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, with my speech in the river, I hereby commission the bridge." It was straightforward, it was short. May I also, especially at this time, appreciate one man who we have variously described as a seasoned banker, but one who, more than that, has changed the landscape of financing. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome one who we discover with over 30 years of experience, having held key roles, including such banks as Lion Bank, Diamond Bank, Intercontinental Bank, and also served very closely with the former MD of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, who now has been elected as our #1 in the housing sector. Permit me to welcome Dr. Bank of Mr. We especially welcome Usman Osidi for his goodwill message. Please put your hands together for him. We clap for is the one who is financing together.
Thank you very much. There is a document he's yet to submit. And Honorable Minister, sir, something he said to me this morning that the chairman of the Africa International Housing Show Board, AIHS, was Minister for State Housing when the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development was the MD Federal Mortgage Bank. Today, by the grace of God, the former MD Federal Mortgage Bank is now the Minister of Housing. And he looked at me and he said, "I am sitting in between the two of them." And I said, if it is a prayer, I would like to claim it. So the former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, who is the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, my boss and mentor, Architect Ahmed Musa Danjewa, the chairman of the African International Housing Show, Zarma, the Deputy Governor of Kano State, His Royal Highness, the Oba of Lagos, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My pleasure to be here today to deliver this goodwill message and extend the compliments of the board, management, and staff of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria at this opening ceremony of the 2025 Africa International Housing Show. Let me begin by commending the vision, energy, and commitment of the founder and organizer of this prestigious event, my dear brother and tireless champion of affordable housing, Barrister First Debayo. The Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria recognizes and applauds consistent efforts in convening stakeholders from across the African continent and housing deficit through affordable housing. Your tireless efforts, commitment to driving conversations around sustainable housing solutions across Africa are truly commendable. You are not only a friend of the bank, but also a vital partner in our shared mission of making home ownership more accessible to all Nigerians. We are especially proud of the growth that we enjoy with you and the African. Last year's successful hosting of the inaugural FMBN Day at the show marked a significant milestone for us as a bank. It gave us the opportunity to engage our stakeholders, share some of the milestones we have achieved, harvest ideas, and lay out our vision towards moving forward. This year, the FMBN Day, which is Thursday, 2025, and we're extending invitation to all stakeholders to join us for the event. Speakers from across Africa with diverse backgrounds will be at hand to share with all their experience, knowledge, and expertise. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to let you know that our momentum from last year has not slowed down. The Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria remains fully committed to affordable home ownership and promoting financial inclusion through targeted, innovative mortgage products that truly serve the housing needs of Nigeria's diverse population. That is why, starting this August, we are set to roll out several groundbreaking products, including the FMB non-interest mortgage loan, which aligns with ethical financial principles to cater to the needs of Nigerians who prefer non-interest banking models. We are also launching the NHF Diaspora Mortgage Loan, specially designed to provide a safe and seamless home ownership pathway for Nigerians living abroad. We also have the Rent Assistance product, which is a customized product tailored to meet the immediate needs of the NHF contributors in both the formal and informal sectors before they are able to own their own homes. These products are part of our broader strategy to remove barriers to home ownership and expand access to financing. Ladies and gentlemen, we recognize that we cannot do this. Platforms like the Africa International Housing Show are crucial to building the kind of robust stakeholder engagement and cross-sector collaboration that we need to drive delivery. Therefore, as we open the 2025 Africa International Housing Show, I encourage all participants to take full advantage of the rich sessions, dynamic exhibitions, and invaluable networking opportunities that this event offers. I wish all of us a successful Africa International Housing.
Gentlemen, can you make it louder for the MD and CEO? A round of applause for him. Please, make you.
The special visit, General Kubugowan ably represented here today. All representatives of our executive governors, the chairman of board of AIHS, Alima,
the chairman of today's event, Professor Jerry Ghana, Honor of Housing and Urban Development, other present government department and agencies here present, the reps Ologo, Obariliwan, Akiolu, dignitaries here, distinguished linguists. Honor be invited to the 19th African International Housing Show, which is a premier forum for collaboration and innovation house landscape. The African International Housing Show stands as the continent's largest and most influential platform dedicated to the housing and construction sectors. It has evolved from a local initiative into a Pan-African movement, fostering innovation, driving policy dialogue, and catalyzing housing delivery and urban development across Africa. The theme of this year, reimagining housing through innovation, Africa's housing landscape, yes, strong policy. The significance of reliable data in this regard, that at all. Policy for investors' confidence and support sustainable housing challenges in our the sector acts as a cornerstone of creating jobs in construction, manufacturing, finance, and beyond, while directly improving the quality of life of millions of Nigerians. With the recent release of the result of the rebasing of Nigerian GDP, more commanding of our economy, we having to incorporate emerging sectors, recent dynamics, including the growing estate in our national output. The base GDP figures reveal that the real estate sector now accounts for 10.7%, up from 6.2%, while the construction sector now accounts for 2.0% GDP. The combination of both sectors account for a substantially larger proportion of Nigerian GDP, increasing from 12.4% of total GDP to 15.9%. While these 3.5 percentage points seem like more increase. In 2 terms, we are talking about 14.6 trillion naira increment. This is highly significant by any measure and by any standard, and reflect the expansion of housing activities from urban development to infrastructure projects, underscoring the sector's growing influence in our economy. Growth in the real estate sector, which involved the and selling of properties, including the monthly utilities, outpaced several traditional industries, contributing not only to GDP, to innovation and value addition supply chains. It is now ranked the 3rd largest contributor to GDP, taking oil and gas as former informal operator this activity. Nigeria past getting rapid growth. The same nation as 2015, Nigeria was top country in the world, resulting in an exponential demand. Urbanization trends are accelerating. Over half of the Nigerian population is expected to reside in urban centers within a decade. This will be fueled by migration, youth demographics, and changing lifestyles. This urban influx intensified the pressure on the existing housing stock,
and centers and create tremendous opportunity for new development. Access to affordable housing, be it in terms of ownership or rent, is natural human's desire and objective. This is enshrined in the Sustainable Development Goal SDG 11 of the Global Development Agenda, which deals with ensuring access for all to adequate, safe, and affordable housing and basic services and upgrade slum by the year 2030. Available data indicates that only 38.2% of urban dwellers own their own houses, making over 60% of those living in the urban area not having their own properties that they live in. This is not only highlights the need for more housing, but also underscore the significant opportunity and demand market. Investment in housing and construction generate effects, stimulating demand for materials such as cement, steel, glass, tiles, and providing livelihood for millions of manufacturing, trade, and professional services. Given these new realities in the housing space, the demand and opportunities that exist within the sector, the need for more granular and sector-specific data on housing, real estate, construction is now more apparent than ever. Till now, the available data on housing have been generated through general household or establishment-based surveys, where only little information on the sector is reported. With the increased contribution and relevance of the sector, produce the data required to maximize the potential and exploit the opportunity within the. In the next few days that we are going to be here, plan for the future of the housing sector in Nigeria. It is necessary investment in the area of data production. At the MBS, we possess the necessary manpower and technical expertise to collect and for the sector. However, they require the right resource investment, and we are counting on you, all the stakeholders here present, to make this happen. As you all know, government investment alone may meet the demand of housing in Nigeria, or indeed in Africa. Similarly, government investment for producing the sector-specific data that is needed users in this sector. I'm therefore calling on partners to complement government efforts, enabling the production of much needed data on a sustainable basis. I know the Honorable Minister is doing a lot in this area with the committee set up now to really commit resources to achieve that. Additionally, the data infrastructure will ensure that decision makers at all levels of government are equipped with the right insights to drive innovation and accountability in housing delivery. The National Bureau of Statistics stands ready as a steadfast partner committed to providing robust, timely, and actionable data to support your efforts in building a dynamic, inclusive housing sector for Nigeria and Africa. Presently, we are working as a core member of the 13-member steering committee on the National Housing Data Center in Nigeria. The committee is tasked with developing the framework and modality for setting up the National Housing Data Center and creating a framework for data collection from public and private institutions, as well as designing a framework for distributing housing data to institutional and retail investors in the Nigerian financial sector. It is our belief that with those ongoing efforts, the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, and the synergy with all relevant stakeholders in this sector, Nigeria can rise to the demand of the right housing data, as well as adequate, affordable, and sustainable for the citizens. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention, for your dedication, for the partnership that we are having now, and for the vision of the Honorable Minister in shaping the future of housing in Nigeria and the entire continent of Africa. Thank you once again, and I wish all of us a very in the next 2 to 3 days. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man that has please give him a nose. Thank you very much, sir. Prince Adeyemi Adeniran, Statistician General of the Federation and CEO of the National Bureau of Statistics. Distinguished guests, the last but not the least for goodwill messages this morning is the Chairman, Presidential Committee of Financial Reform, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. Please a round of applause for him as he comes forward for his goodwill message. Keep clapping, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a real pleasure to be here to share this very important moment with the organizers and then with our country as a whole. Without a house, it is hard to have a home. Without homes, we cannot have a nation. So this is an important sector, not just because the size has increased as a percentage of GDP. It is because it holds a lot of important promises for our country today and for the future generation yet unborn. Whether we are talking about employment generation, this sector is very heavy in terms of labor. Whether you are talking about wealth creation, you have to think about this sector. I saw my friend and I said, "You are in all the sectors." He said, "Yes, because this is where the so it is to say that this housing sector is the new gold, our new oil. I know that many of us have been following the reforms around tax and fiscal reform, especially the new tax laws recently signed into law by Mr. President. So what to do briefly is just share with you some of the good news, because these reforms hold a lot of good news for our country. We recognize that it's such an important sector, so we were very intentional in the design of the tax policy around housing, around land and real estate generally, including construction. So land, property, and real estate are exempt from VAT as well as rent. So you won't have to pay VAT when you pay rent. There's stamp duties exemption up to a certain threshold if you are paying rent. That is to make rental affordable for those who have to pay. There is no capital gains tax on the same dwelling house. It's not a prayer that actually we have come to recognize, realize that sometimes it will make economic sense not to live in a big house, for example, because circumstances do change and you may want to sell that to make some money. You will not have to pay. Withholding tax rates on construction activities are sustained at a rate of %. And this is in recognition of the fact that this sector is capital intensive. And more often than not, you have to borrow. And we all know what mortgage is saying in Nigeria. It's not very friendly. It's either not available or you have double digits. And I know my brother from the agency is trying his best, but the resources are not enough. So we thought we should not hold your cash in anticipation of taxes that you pay, which may not even come or may be down the line. Why don't we free up your cash flow for you to do more business, create more economic activities, employ more people, and the country can grow? So your withholding tax rates are very low. Another good news is that a significant component of this sector, building materials production, operate for many years having to pay corporate income tax. So we wanted to make profit and even more profit, especially when you use profit economy. We believe that generally there has around land reform. To get title for land in Nigeria is because we made land transactions very cumbersome, very opaque, very difficult, us of progress, and is limiting our ability to create shared prosperity. So, committee level, we're having this engagement with the subnationals in particular, who are the one holding the title to land on our behalf, to simplify the process around land transactions. Even someone like me that will consider myself as very diligent because I don't have a lot of money. Before I spend 1 naira, I'll do a lot of due diligence. I've had to pay for a land twice in Lagos State. And these are some of the common stories that we hear every now and then. Many people have landed property. They can't even produce the title as collateral to do anything. I believe that in this room and beyond, we have everything that it takes to turn this narrative around to something we can be proud of, such that when we come for the 20th edition of this program, we have more things to celebrate. In designing the reforms that are about to be implemented in the next few months, we decided that the Nigeria we want is the Nigeria where there is prosperity, that grows, that is focused on efficiency, that is people-centered policies of government. Like Nelson Mandela once said, that may your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears. Our hope for Nigeria is the country that can be one of the best in the world, where our population will be a gain and not a pain. And at the end of the day, we can all look back and say, indeed, we contributed I will encourage you in the course of this conference to think about how your choices will reflect your hopes and not your fears. May God bless you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, sir. Reiterating our purpose for being here. It's about building hope and ensuring that our dreams receive the inspiration to become a reality. Still on Goodwill Messages, it's my pleasure to welcome the MD and CEO, Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, Engineer Uzoma Nwagba. A round of applause, please. Please, can we do that warmly? Thank you. Let's keep it brief. Thank you.
Very brief. Good afternoon, everyone. And permit me to stand on all protocol that has been established. I was asked to keep this very brief, but I want to recognize the chief host and the honorable minister whose work in the housing sector, especially pioneering and supporting events like this, bring us together. At Credit Corps, we are a relatively organization, Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, and the goal is to accelerate access to consumer credit
individual credits to people for the purpose of having better quality of life. So if you want access to credit to get vehicles, solar panels, mobility, and as I can imagine, housing and home improvement is a very big part of our mandate. Now, there is a Federal Mortgage Bank, and I recognize the managing director who is also here. Thank you. And other institutions of government established specifically for the housing sector. A part of our mandate that we have executed very deliberately is on driving access to home improvement, especially in arts sectors and parts of the economy like the civil service. And so today we have about 35,000 civil servants who've gotten access to consumer credit for various of those goods. And what we've seen is a high uptake of credit for purchase and retirement homes. So people being able to now start to build their retirement homes while in civil service or complete homes and not wait until retirement. We also see a growth in enabling local manufacturing people to access credits to buy building material. So while we are invited to this event, and the organizers reached out to us was to speak on our goals and our role here. And as we dialogue, we are very open to discuss and work with partners who would be wanting to expand access to credit specifically for home improvement purposes and also for land acquisition. And we work with a wide array of financial institutions, enabling wholesale lending, and are also shareholders of the Credit Guarantee Company that was just established. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak, and looking forward to more dialogue throughout the course of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, may we especially appreciate the VP World Trade Center, Abuja. We want to thank you for your presence. Ahmed Karim Adelaja, who is represented here by Ms. Alabi Goodness, Head of Program and Trade Movement. Please put your hands together for her. We also want to salute Engineer Margaret Aino Oguntolo, FNSE, President, Nigerian Society of Engineers. Thank you very much, Ma, for your time. Able to take all the goodwill messages, but we know that many of you came in here with messages, particular principles. I want to quickly go on to appreciate, welcome, put your hands together for him.
The distinguished chairman of the occasion, the distinguished chairman of the occasion, and that does not require any further introduction, the one and only distinguished scholar and leader, Professor Jigana, the convener of this great meeting, the Honorable Minister for Housing, and a profound professional architect, Ahmed Dangiwa. Other stakeholders that have been appropriately recognized. Let me not take your time in repeating protocol, but let me acknowledge that the collection of personalities that have come for this event is simply intimidating. There's no doubt about it. Anything associated with housing in the last half hours have been appropriately recognized. I will not want to repeat that. Having said so, let me make it clear that I am standing here with the permission and authority of former head of state, General Dr. Yakubu Gowon, to read his prepared address. He asked me to apologize to the minister and the organizers that because he's away on annual holiday, he is unable to come, but he would have preferred to be here physically with you. Permit me proceed to read the content of His Excellency General Dr. Yakubu Gowon. To be here today as a special guest of honor at this international housing show. I consider this event an important milestone in such solutions to the problem of housing, which is one of Africa's most pressing challenges. As we all know, housing plays a critical role in this fundamental needs of man. The other, since independence in 1960, successive federal and state governments have continued to design initiatives aimed at improving housing conditions, access to affordable housing, and promoting urban development. These programs were designed to address the housing needs of Nigerians, but in the low and middle income bracket. These initiatives also abound in other African countries. And by the way, it is important to recognize the very encouraging presence of representatives of many African countries. To me, this is a major reflection of the success of this meeting. I recall that the federal government under my leadership from 1966 to 75 had a holistic approach to solving the housing dilemma. This was because we understood that adequate housing is a cornerstone of human dignity and well-being. That aside, affordable housing also has a direct impact on health and economic productivity. For these reasons, we emphasize a program of action that focus on the construction of new homes and the development of allied infrastructure like roads, water supply, and electricity. Our modest effort laid the groundwork for future governments to build upon. The policies and programs we implemented have continued to influence housing development in Nigeria, while also serving as models for other African countries. As I sit with you today, I feel quite happy to observe that the conversation around housing has evolved, incorporating new ideas, technologies, and sustainable practices. Indeed, the Africa International Housing Show, of which this year is the 19th edition, is a testament to the progress that has been made and the challenges to overcome. As a professional platform, the show engenders the sharing of knowledge and experiences Africa trade-wise, showcasing innovations and the forging of partnerships that have potential to drive meaningful change. I therefore commend the organizers for their commitment to bringing together diverse stakeholders to address the complex issues surrounding housing in Africa. But I dare say that as we move forward, it has become imperative that we prioritize affordable housing sustainable urban planning, and inclusive development. We must work collaboratively to ensure that our housing policies are not only effective, but also equitable and beneficial to all segments. The future of Africa's housing sector depends on our collective ability to innovate, invest, and implement solutions that meet the needs of our growing populations. Finally, in ending my brief remarks, I would like once more to commend the organizers of the Africa International Housing Show for the forward-looking, problem-solving focus in housing development on the continent. I am confident this outcome of this show will positively impact and engender the advancement of housing development in Africa. Let me apologize and recognize that we have representatives of states across country represented by, with representatives of the governors. For me, it's an illustration of the centrality of housing as a key requirement for development. I cannot miss the fact that my governor is represented here, just like other governors. Thank you. And finally, I thank you all for listening and wish participants fruitful deliberations. Thank you, General Yakubu Gawan.
Thank you very much. Please, can we give him another round of applause? Thank you so much. We appreciate him for being one of the founding fathers of Nigeria and for doing well at that. A father called his son to complain about rain and renovation. The father told his son that the rain removed their roof and that he needed to renovate the roof. The son sent about 5 million naira to his father in the village. After a month, he visited the father in the village and he discovered that the old roof was still there. And he went to the father and said, "Daddy, you told me that you wanted to renovate the roof and I sent you money." And the father looked at him straight in the eye and said, "My son, and you remember when you were in school and you were asking for money for photosynthesis, money for medulla oblongata, and for the repair of broken atmosphere. You think I don't know? It's your turn now to pay back." Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome one from the representative of also another of our special guests of honor, His Excellency Ahmed Aliyu Sokoto, PhD, the Executive Governor of Sokoto State. Is represented here, His Excellency Alhaji Eid Mohammed Gobir. Please for him. Housing innovation has been championed, education, health in Sokoto, and security is paramount. Please put your hands together for the good work they are doing.
Your Excellency, the President of Nigeria, General Yakubu Gawan, who is represented here, the former Minister and National Orientation, Professor Jerry Gana, the Honorable Minister of Federal Housing Authority and Urban Development, Ahmed Angiwa, the representative of the governors here present, other officials at the high table, ladies and gentlemen, I can see my sister from Nema, Hajia Zubeda. Assalamu alaikum. I'm here, Excellency Sokoto PhD FCNA, to stand before you. Let me express our gratitude to the organizers of this African Housing Festival. We really appreciate the invitation to His Excellency. And I believe This has happened as a result of the governor's commitment when it comes to housing development. Right from the entry, I came across a lot of people that we happened to meet in Enugu somewhere last year. That is Nigerian urban and regional planners. And these people know the commitment of His Excellency to the extension to the African Housing Festival Show. The governor, right from the inception as the governor, he keyed in where he awarded 100% another housing project that we inherited from the past government, about 500,000 again. Building of schools, and so many, or a lot of it almost everywhere. Sometimes appreciate His Excellency Bola Ahmed, Federal Republic of Nigeria, for his and commitment for providing or sourcing affordable houses in our community is okay. One with the one of Renew Hope Housing and Placo Housing, which is undergoing project under the National Emergency Management Agency. At the same time, let me align myself with the past speaker, Mr. Bayo. When I came in right from the gate or from the entry, I saw a lot of things that really admire me. And this is telling me that, yeah, this is an IBN, you understand, by a rich people. He said, this is a business where gold and diamond are. And I believe when I came in, I saw a lot of it. And I believe in Nigeria, apart from petrol, mining, the next is housing development. I used to tell our people that, look, Mustaman, if you want to become rich, go and join housing development. But if you want to be in history, you can join politics. But that one is not guaranteed even though you join politics. Because it's only goes know what and when and how are you going to end the tenure. Are you going to end the tenure? You understand, people are clapping for you. People are, you understand, jubilating that, yeah, this guy or this man has left a lot of policies or legacies behind. Or maybe you will go and people will say, go, to hell with you. So in politics, it is not the history in, you know, it's not assured, it's not guaranteed. But in housing, the money, tell by people that please, if you please don't ever think of politics. Go and join estate developing, go and join house developing, go and join land business, this and that. Because you understand they have a lot of money. This is why people make a lot of money. But when you say you want to join politics, you want to just adjust in, but no one's how we ended and and not necessarily you can politicians along line after leaving office. That is after how they were turned into. Came in, me and Honorable Minister of Housing were just making a little gossip in that. Look at Baba Jerry. Look at how gigantic, you know, how strong he is. He was able to keep himself. Do you know why he said? Because he is one of those rich people who happen to join business of estate developing or housing developing. He don't really believe in looking for contract one office to another. He don't live in intermingling in the government that he must become relevant almost all the time. So look at the way he is looking. But people like us and our eldest ones that wish to remain in our streams, when you see them, you know how they are looking. You will see maybe, you know, here around the public, you understand, shrinking, or maybe within the backbone is bleeding. But somebody who wants to have a rest of mind, better key into this. And nothing but how We saw it, we know it. Official assignment like this. When I come around, I say, why is Mr. B? They say, no, Mr. B is now a billionaire. Is he a governor? They say, no. Is he a minister? No. Where did he get this money? He was into estate development, the importance of estate development. And I hope the chairman of African Festival, Housing Festival, will register me as a member so that I will become one of your apprentices before the end of you. And thank you very much on behalf of His Excellency Dr.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, can we bring his registration form? Our board members will officially induct you, sir. Thank you. I think the summary of the deputy governor's speech is that the retirement plan for civil politicians should be housing sector. It used to be National Assembly when you are leaving government house. Now you want to leave Senate and just come and build a house. Thank you very much, sir. Well, that is for some other people securing the future in down their nest of kin. But last week, where a nest of kin sued the owner of the money, and they took him to court. The court asked what happened. He says, sir, the way this man is spending this money, by the time he dies, nothing will remain. So even him needed to be careful. Well, ladies and gentlemen, beauty of information, there is the beauty of information. And there is one man, well, is referred to as the master builder of governance, an architect of institutional integrity, a seasoned leader and technocrat who helped to lay the foundation of justice, policy, and has served in various capacities in this country. Prince of national coordination, and he has formed national information down to the grassroots in the best ever way possible. He reinforced the pillars of governance through civil service and society reforms. He strengthened institutional frameworks for transparency and chaired various committees helping to make Nigeria work. He's also cemented partnership with development agencies, drove implementation of progress in business environments, and supported key infrastructure development even as an individual. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, he's referred to simply as an elder statesman, as a respected politician, as a bridge builder, as a change maker, a cornerstone of leadership, a structural beam of integrity, and a guiding compass of Nigeria's house of progress. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our chairman for today, Professor Jerry Ghana. Please put your hands together for him as he comes up to speak to us this afternoon.
Kindly allow me to put this in my CV. Our special guest of honor, our former head of state, General Dr. Yakubu Gowon, who has been very by Professor Bogoro. Our chief host, the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, who is doing very, very well. Kindly join me, put your hands together for this minister. Well done. Housing Development. Your Excellencies, representative of the Governor of Sokoto State, representatives of the Governor of Bauchi State, and the representative of the Right Honorable Speaker of the Ghanaian Parliament who spoke to us, very distinct organizers of this foremost housing show, representing a very powerful sector in every economy, the chairman of the National Population Commission and other chairmen and chief executives of panels and commissions are present. Your Royal Highness of Lagos and other royal others here are present. kindly convey my very warm greetings to the KBSC, that I remember him very well, and that our daughter that I put in the Voice of Nigeria, she's doing well. Tell Oba that she's doing very well. When I served as minister, I had the privilege of recommending somebody from the Oba to be in the Voice of Nigeria. And the other day, I was just speaking, and she came to greet me, knelt down, and said, "My God, beautiful, beautiful." Instead, I acted on the request of our father in those days. You know, I served as Minister of Information long ago. And I do want to appreciate all the very, very powerful organizers of this housing show. And want to thank you very much for the invitation to be chairman of this occasion. A friend of mine asked me, "Jerry, how do you get to be chairman of such a very powerful body, a reward for teachers?" I noticed as many of them on that board were my former students, and they've been recommending me. So I want to, please put your hands together for my former students. Thank you very, very much. You know, students like their teachers to be decorated. When I look at the program, the chairman introduced, but I want to assure my students that since the Doctor of Philosophy, which you knew me with in those days, your lecturer of those days has become a commander of the Order of the Niger. Clap for me now. So a doctor of divinity and a doctor of science. So for the sake of my students, organizers try and love to have our teachers decorated. Let me begin by extending a commendation to the organizers of this event. Press, very, very well organized. Coming kind of show the presentations. I hope I have the opportunity around a bit. I'm pleading now that the governors don't run away. We have to see a bit of this show. Kindly join me, put your hands together to the organizers of this show. Can I hear you? So I commend all of you for this, and this is the 19th edition. They've done very, very well, and I really appreciate them. I want to please also request you to kindly allow me to appreciate one barrister, a lawyer who has become a housing expert, Festus Adebayo. Mr. Festus Adebayo brought the invitation for this event personally to my house. And since I was working with my mentor, Professor J of the University of Ibadan, who was a very celebrated geographer, design, one of the founders of those, the city of Abuja, Mr. Adebayo. And I remember him, but I haven't seen him since that day. And he came to my house. I said, "How did you find my house? How did you?" And he came and brought the invitation personally. For finding me, quiet me in my house and bringing this, I will come. Since she has promoted me to be chairman, I was invited to be here just as a guest. Now I'm chairman. Clap for chairman now. So, Mr. Festus Adebayo, thank you very much. The story you told me of your recent visit to Ghana was so depressing, I don't want to repeat it here. But it's very, very important that we realize that things are moving on in other African countries. Let's get our act together. He said he went to Ghana with some 200,000 naira. A lot of naira, 200,000. And when he was to exchange to Ghanaian cedi, he got back only 1,000 cedi. Can you imagine that? The naira has gone down. Managers of this thing to the people are telling we are suffering. Mr. Honorable Minister, You know I respect you too. You know you've been doing wonderful things, especially when you are in the Federal Mortgage Bank. But the truth is that the Naira has been devalued over 700%. If that I want you to kindly do for us, really appeal to the managers of this economy that the exchange rate, they must work on it. And you know, God has been so good to Nigeria. I've been listening to so many speeches. Friends from the happening. Don't tell this public. I'll tell you in secret because you are my brother. And you people must look. Oh. Initiated impactful platforms such as the Housing Development Advocacy Network and Africa's first dedicated housing television channel, the Housing TV Africa. If you haven't been watching it, you watch it. It's very well organized. The only network that is better than it in the whole of Africa is the NTA. It's true. Now, why are you laughing at NTA? This is myself. This very, very forward-looking organization has a theme for this year: reimagining housing through innovation, collaboration, and policy. And truly, this is something that should really, as it were, make you people a real thought leader in the housing sector. May I also commend the federal government under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for the strong commitment to housing renewal. I understand that this program being driven by the minister aims at making housing more affordable nationwide and reflects a commendable dedication to addressing a critical national need. The efforts of the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development under the guidance of architect Ahmed Dangiwa should be recognized and appreciated, and we do so. Furthermore, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria has been playing a very crucial role in providing access to affordable housing. I hope they are still doing so in single digit. Are they still doing so on single digit interest rate? Are they still doing so? If they are doing so, kindly join me, appreciate the Federal Mortgage Bank. I entered the housing through the housing finance sector because when I looked at the various critical areas of housing, of land, building materials, and you know the others, The real king, the real powerful area is housing finance. And we haven't been able to really get it right in Nigeria to make housing finance affordable. We've been trying, but we haven't got it right yet. And I don't know whether my speech will be distributed. I don't want to take your time. I've discussed this area in paragraph 8 and 9 and up to 10 of my address. This is a very critical sector, housing finance. The truth is that housing is not affordable in Nigeria now for many Nigerian workers. And we have to do our best to make housing affordable. And when I studied this recently, the most critical area is not only housing finance, but we haven't been able to really produce for ourselves building materials that are truly Nigerian, truly local. And therefore, a lot of them are imported. And because of the exchange rate, by the time they land in Nigeria, the costs are far beyond us. So construction costs are still very high. And so housing delivery is still expensive. I want to challenge this housing show that one area we must do our best is to really produce local building materials that are good and affordable, so that houses can be affordable. And for the masses, you know, I'm a politician. We are for the masses. Let the masses be able to purchase the housing. And you know, having a house is a very important factor in reducing insecurity. All house owners are very responsible. You'll find that a lot of the people out there, a lot of what is happening is that secure. They don't even know where to sleep. And so if you help the government and you help the nation by really reducing housing delivery costs so that houses become more affordable, you'll be contributing tremendously to the peace, stability, and security of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is time for us, and I want to challenge you as chairman of this show, that we have to have made in Nigeria houses. We are still importing housing models, and they are too expensive for us. So we must make housing affordable. Building materials, largely, you know, account for nearly 50, in fact, up to 60, 70% of the total cost of a house. By choosing to produce local building materials, you'll be providing strategic solution to this very, very important area of national development. Beyond the economic implications, I wish to emphasize that it's able to generate a lot of jobs. The fastest way you can create millions of jobs in the country is to have a very active housing program. Because one house alone, just look at the number of experts, the number of artisans, the number of people, just one house alone. And then you multiply that by the thousands of houses you want to build, you quickly build a massive working force. And they now receive salaries, and money will be flowing into the economy, and families will be looked after. Therefore, again, I look at the Honorable Minister. We want to really request you to do your best, not because you are the serving minister. The housing sector should be well funded. Do you agree with me? Does he have your mandate? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. Minister, you are hereby mandated. Kindly put your hands together for the Honorable Minister. Let me conclude, because you know, our Mr. Mamsa, if you give a professor who was in Mamsa the microphone, he can take the next 1 hour of your very precious time. Therefore, I'd like to conclude in thanking the special guest of honor. Kindly convey our greetings to His Excellency for honoring us. Kindly convey our thanks to all the governors, all the federal government is being represented very powerfully by the chief host. kindly convey our greetings and thanks to Mr. President and all the housing, very, very important leaders in the housing sector. Finding time to honor us in this opening ceremony, you've done well, and we thank you. May you continue to excel in your areas. May housing delivery become cheaper for the masses. I thank you for listening, and congratulations.
I was very sure that that round of applause will be done with more love and warmth. That was an outstanding speech. Thank you so much, sir. Your presence here, and of course, the address we have received, indeed gives us all the reassurance that we need that this will be a formidable success. We'll be moving very quickly to the next item on the agenda, and that will be the keynote address. Again, the theme is Reimaging Housing Through Innovation, Collaboration, and Policy. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to recognize and welcome for the keynote address one who continues to bridge and connect finance to technology with the goal of ensuring that humanity has what it needs to thrive. I want to welcome one who is the chairman of Main One Cable Company, a lighthouse of digital connectivity in West Africa, laying the deep sea bridges that power communication and commerce across the region. It might interest you to know that he continues to be a pillar of compassion, having served and in serving as the deputy chairman of the Victims of Terrorism Support Fund, helping to rebuild broken walls of lives and communities. Decorated as an officer of the Order of the Federal Republic and an alumnus of the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies. Ladies and gentlemen, the name that we resonate with compassion and with focus is none other than Mr. Fola Adeola, OFR. Please, a round of applause. He will be coming up. Forgive me. He will be represented today by Mohammed Garba, the co-founder, Cardinal Stones. Please, can we put our hands together as he takes the key address? Before I hand over the microphone, I was hoping that just as the professor said, he talked about being a teacher, and then I tried to find out one thing that might connect me with him. I am a teacher, so I will teach you a round of applause that we will be giving to Mr. Mohammed Garba. Is that okay? All right. Just hold on. When I throw a fist, I expect that you clap. The only persons who will not be doing it are those who are sleeping. So let's do it together. When I throw a fist, you will clap.
Fantastic. Great. Good afternoon, Chairman, the representative of the former president, the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, the convener of AIHS, Mr. Festus Adebayo, the AIHS Advisory Board, the private sector, the diplomatic community, representatives of the Ghanaian Parliament, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here today representing Mr. Fola Adeola, my chairman. I wish first to thank Mr. Festus Adebayo for his contribution towards addressing housing shortage. This is a very, very important topic because it's critical to economic development. And so we have to view it from that perspective. One of the three key pillars for economic development, housing, one of it is housing. There's also food security, and closely followed by that is education. So without housing, we really cannot have sustainable economic development. In approaching my speech today, I would approach it in 5 different topics. I'd shared a slide, so it would have been wonderful if the presentation was put up so the audience can follow. But if that's delaying, I'll just go ahead. Africa today is suffering from a huge deficit, housing deficit. The total shortfall is put at somewhere about 50 million. But the shocking thing there is that about half of that is Nigeria alone. And that's a big problem. So almost half of Africa's housing deficit is concentrated here. But the truth is, do we really have a housing deficit or we have a housing imbalance? Because of the rural-urban migration, there are a lot of houses that are empty, only that they are in the villages. So there's a dislocation when we use affordable housing. There's a lot of affordable housing. But what we're witnessing today, or generally around the world, is urban cities, the rural-urban migration, and it started decades ago, everyone coming to look for work. So while in essence, there really isn't a housing shortage per se, but there's an urban crisis because people still continue to come in to urban areas. And that really is what is causing the dislocation. And so even for policymakers, it's very, very important as we carve out some of these things. Because, and I'll use Nigeria and maybe Africa generally. We have houses at home. They're empty almost close to 11 months in a year. But the cities are crowded. And that's what continues to put pressure. Lagos experiences, and today Abuja is experiencing it at a very rapid pace. So even as policymakers want to allocate capital, capital really should be allocated wisely because there are certain problems in certain areas. Also, we have a huge youth population, and that is also affecting how we plan housing. Many youths want to run to the urban areas. What kind of houses we build, the kind of houses we need to build is actually to solve that future problem, which would happen very soon. It's estimated that even though the housing shortage in Africa today is 50 million, in the next 5 years, it's going to hit about 130 million. That means we cannot continue to manage this crisis in the old ways we've always done. Things have to change. And this is why finance is very important. Housing is really finance. We've seen instances where investors move money to different asset classes. It starts with money market investments, switches to equities, until we approach real estate as an investment asset class. The truth is government cannot do it alone. And if government does not create the right enabling environment to support this growth, then we'll continue to suffer huge dislocations in housing. Approaching housing from a finance point of view, we're looking at it, first of all, from an economic standpoint. Post-COVID, before COVID, we had some stability. I mean, countries like Ghana got affected largely because of COVID, where because economies, and this is a very important topic we should clearly understand, and it's part of what is going to cause this huge deficit and resolving it. Investors around the world flowed money. Money is like water. It flows to the area of least resistance. And so once COVID came, it significantly dislocated the world. Macros, and so pumped a lot of money
to try to solve this problem because it wasn't anything anyone was used to. And because of that, because of this, a lot of money started chasing few assets. In the last 5 years, round prices have gone up at an abnormal pace. So it's not just happening in Nigeria, it's happening around the world. One of the consequences of this is almost 20 years of real estate appreciation has happened in the last 5 years. The part of that problem is for the next 15 years, you have a generation who today are in their 30s and 40s. They might rent much longer than their parents ever did because they cannot afford housing. So while even trying to solve this problem, and it's happening around the world, it's not a Nigerian problem, it's happening in every developed market. A number of these people would rent much longer. So how then do we solve, if we know that this is where economics is going to, many of them are getting jobs, they want their first home, but house prices have gone up, rent is also running up. So how do we solve this problem? Is to ensure that we use a multi-pronged approach, similar to what the fiscal chairman, tax and fiscal policy chairman of the government had mentioned. It has to be a multi-pronged approach. We have, for example, today, multiple initiatives to an extent that are not well coordinated. You have pursuing traditional initiatives like the Federal Mortgage Bank, like the Federal Housing Authority, but they are not able to generate enough because the total amount of money being generated as a country and being allocated to Ministry of Housing is not enough to take care of the demand that is growing abnormally faster. But this has to be resolved. And the only way, like we know, government's primary role is to create an enabling environment. Is how then can we take, the minister take a lead at this to work with other initiatives. The Renewed Hope Agenda, which is another very laudable initiative. We've seen it spread across multiple countries. My hope and wish is it stays mainly in the urban areas because that's where we're having, or we would have the crisis. So it's solving urban demand. However, you have initiatives like family home funds, reporting to the Minister of Finance, reporting to the CBN. I think a coordinated approach to US has an agency. They were very lucky because they had wonderful initiatives like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, so many mortgage institutions. US, as a result of the global financial crisis in 2008, get a law that made WNC coordinate both the initiatives of the Ministry of Housing and the central bank as well as the finance ministry. One single policy initiative to help bring everyone together. And today it's working significantly. If not for that crisis, even the US was working at loggerheads. Everyone was running their various initiatives and how significantly, and there was a global financial crisis. So I think for Nigeria here too, particularly, we should have initiatives where this is put together to ensure that policy. That way, it's going to attract a lot of private sector money. The MRIF, very smart, but I think so not in line. How do you marry MRIF, which is growing and being funded, directly with the initiatives that both FHA and Federal Mortgage Bank is producing, so that there's proper harmony and we're able to meet most of this urban dislocation? I think it's very important such initiatives are put in place. That way we work very closely with both the fiscal and monetary policies to ensure the right balance. One very simple initiative, which hopefully, Minister, and this is directed at you, if it works, is the CRR, cash reserve ratio. What cash reserve ratio means is for every naira you keep in a non-bank today, 50 kobo of it stays with the central bank, just to ensure that there's not too much money in circulation. So banks earn nothing on that. It's seized by the central bank. This little initiative, if 5% of that money can be released through commercial banks for primarily for mortgage lending, just like Professor Ghana had said, it would have a ripple effect on creating jobs and helping us significantly close the gap. It is a very low-hanging fruit. I believe because also the banks are not supposed to have those monies to do as they please. Government can direct how this money is. It's there. It is waiting. It is real. It's real money. However, there is single policy, it could significantly transform this country and also help our mortgage base. Nigerian banks today have less than 1% in mortgage. Banking everywhere in the world is mortgage. In the US, banks have roughly, their balance sheet is roughly about 40 to 50% in loans to real estate. Somewhere 40%. In Nigeria today, it's 1%. So while the minister and all of us here try to work in isolation, we will do a lot of wonderful. You will not see the result because everyone has to come together. It's a holistic approach and not a fragmented approach to solving this. Just imagine banks increase their funding by 5%. Remember, sir, I said banks are earning zero today on that money. So even at 10%, at 2%, at 5%, but directed to us, it's win-win for the banks and it's win-win for the economy. It's transformational, it's there, it's real, and it's a low-hanging fruit. Great. Another area, I'm happy we have Mr. Akim Oguniran here because he pioneered some of the initiatives there, is REITs. Nigeria, and that's where organized institutional money comes into real estate. We don't have a REIT, regulation in Nigeria. It's one of the few countries that does not have REIT as a regulation. Luckily, Mr. Oguniran can be given this mandate, sir. I'm challenged because he's also a member of NREIT, which is very, very important in galvanizing institutional money. We need REITs because as we build the houses, remember, for you to create an ecosystem, houses eventually need an ecosystem. You need supermarkets, you need commercial activities around housing. So building housing in isolation would not work. To create that ecosystem, it's institutional money. Today, it's very, very pedestrian amount there. We need a regulation. It is transformational growth. And again, this is low-hanging fruit. So we can continue to say some of these initiatives. If we don't act on them, the transformation will be unbelievable. Nigerians will own houses. We would fix that supply gap because we're so behind right now. The data we saw, Nigeria's housing supply, that's total houses available for sale, is abysmally low. Demand is significantly out. And imagine we're still in an economic crisis, getting about to take off because we've seen that most of the problems have been solved. So imagine this government creates 0.5% growth in population in middle class. We'll have a housing crisis. There'll be money, even a few available houses. Because a lot of developers have stopped developing because of high interest rates, and it's creating a supply dislocation, and it's going to get worse. Because while on one hand, people are praying to get jobs, and after they get jobs, they buy a car, they get married, next thing is they're saving to buy a house. We don't even have enough houses. So policy, to a large extent, they're working, but they can be tweaked to achieve much faster results. On innovation, very quickly, we've seen very smart today. I think Wholesome in Kenya is doing affordable housing. And that's where, again, Professor Jerry Ghana kind of touched on, using new technology to create what we think would work for us and is unique to us. We have clay. We have so many natural resources. How do we then do that backward integration and get the right government policies and support to help ensure that those businesses would stand the test of time. Today, it's very tough going into manufacturing. And while we know that we can solve this problem, not many people are doing it because you will get your hands burned. You really cannot compete in the current world with China. If you start your production today, no matter what the policy is, and China is producing much cheaper, significantly cheaper, one way or the other, it will feel tiny. I won't say it's not called smuggling, but one way or the other, it gets in because that's elementary economics. So China today, even the US is fighting China. You design in the US, you go and produce in China. iPhones, they're all US companies. So even as you look at the prism of production, how do you ensure that you're able to produce in the right manner? Again, we're at advantage today because gradually 20, 30 years ago, it was globalization. 5 years ago, we started seeing regionalism. So everybody is trying to regionalization. You're trying to bring things within your region. So how do we solve this problem for Africa? We have AFCA. However, the new Donald Trump, the president of the US, is now moving it to nationalism. So how do we take pride? How do we partner with the Chinese who are now looking at the right partners to partner with? And we shouldn't be ashamed of it. They are far ahead of the world. Bring technical partners in. Their government initiatives, they own a part of this, and invite private sector because we need that government cover. And one by one, we will fix all of this dislocation. Affordable housing in itself is an aberration. Between the time you do the budget in January and you get it approved and funded, dollar and everything has moved. So even what you planned to deliver as a house can no longer work. Not because the minister did not try or want to solve that problem. Things have just changed. And to fix that, you must manage your supply. Luckily, about 20 years ago, former President Obasanjo started solving this problem by fixing cement. Today, up until 2007, we imported every single thing to build a house. We fixed cement, we're fixing steel. So you can see that between cement and aggregates, we've started fixing it. Roughly 60% is being imported. If from a policy point of view, we line up the remaining 15 or 20 major components and choose 3 or 4 that are the biggest and work from a policy point of view to reduce those ones, you would have significantly solved this housing problem organically. We would not be able to solve all at once, but we can cherry pick the ones we want to solve. On the issue of okay, yes, I've touched on REIT. There are quite a lot of. There's also blended finance. Blended finance is another very laudable initiative. There are diaspora bonds. A lot of investors abroad are looking for the right channel to bring money into Nigeria. This is latent money sitting there. Majority of them want to do real estate. There's just not enough real estate to buy. But there's so much money trying to come in. We also need an avenue work with government to create this really for real estate. A few of us in our own personal capacity organizations, we're doing it and we're seeing wonderful tremendous growth. So it's bringing money, but this can actually now be approached from a national point of view and even an African perspective. So I think my challenge or my primary call here to policymakers is to ensure we create an enabling environment to encourage private sector to participate in funding. To the esteemed private sector shareholders, please invest in the local value chain to create support. To investors and DFIs, you should support our housing initiative with innovative housing models. And like I had mentioned, a coordinated and holistic approach to closing the housing gap is a better and optimal solution that can resolve affordability question we continue to ask. and not multiple fragmented initiatives. Thank you very much.
Please put your hands together for our keynote speaker. I want to ask once more that we clap for him, please. Thank you very much. Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, that foundation is solid. We need to meet housing needs or supplies that is where, but the key element of his message is on innovation, and that's what the Minister of Housing is already focused on. I think we should be able to appreciate our minister who has foresight, who also is ready for the season. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. May I especially appreciate one of our board members who is a lawyer, who had done very well, both as founder and CEO of Eximia Realty Group, and also mentioned by our keynote speaker as pioneer, for his pioneer tenure as managing director at the UPDC and many other things, Mr. Hakim Oguniro, who is our vice chairman for our advisory board. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much. A lawyer had asked a housing agent out, and because he was a lawyer, he wanted to use the housing language to ask her out, and he said, "Lady, please, can we build a relationship?" And the lady looked at him and said, "Before you start building a relationship, make sure you know who owns the land. Because whatever is permanently attached to land belongs to land and the owner of land." The guy is still looking for the owner of land. The next person is one who we describe as our landlord. He has done so much for this country. The New York Times described him as one who has reformed the housing policy with national urban plans and tax schemes. He has simplified land tilting and introduced flexible mortgages, including rent to own, lowered equity requirements, and activated an online housing portal with over 48,000 registered users. Well, while that is still going on, may I come one who has specially worked with the Honorable Minister as friend and partner. May I especially welcome the Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Housing Development, Kano State, Architect Ibrahim Yakubu Adamu, MNIA. Please put your hands together for him. You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. I understand a lot is going on in Kano. Thank you, sir, for championing that. Our minister is one who has been described as a chief architect of Nigeria's renewed hope agenda. With bold strides and confident results, he has built bridges of finance through over 100 billion guarantees and PPPs. He has raised scaffolds of innovation and laid strong beams of policy reforms with national urban development blueprints, from transforming slums into livable communities to cementing Nigeria's continued leadership as chairman of the African Housing Ministers Financial Caucus. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to welcome the master builder of policies and architect of urban renewal, who draws blueprints that transform dreams into reality. He's an architect, a leader, a builder, a policy maker, a housing advocate. May I invite the Honorable Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dengiwa FNI. Please put your hands together for him as he comes up to deliver his message.
So you may sit down. Thank you. Please. Thank you. The chairman of the occasion, or who this special guest of honor, permit me, the special guest of honor who is our elder, our leader, His Excellency General Yakubu Gowon, GCFR, the former head of state, who is ably represented by our Professor Suleiman Bogoro, who is the former TED Fund Executive Secretary. The chairman of the occasion, by no other person than Professor Jerry Ghana, who was a former Minister of Information and former chairman of MAMSA. Their Excellencies, the governors of Sokoto State, who is represented by the Deputy Governor of Sokoto State, Dr. Idris Gobir, the Governor of Kano State, represented by the Commissioner of Lands and Housing, and his successor of Bauchi State, ably represented by his Commissioner of Housing, also here present. The former Minister of Housing and Urban Development, who is the chairman of the Abuja International Housing Show, who was my former boss, Savia Suleiman Zarma, here present. The heads of government agencies here present, FMB and FHA, NEMA, Office of Surveyor General of the Federation, and many others that are here present, I can see them, and the heads of other corporate organizations, especially in the housing sector. His Royal Highness, the Oba of Lagos, the representatives of the housing stakeholders that are here, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Innovation that are here, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to welcome you all to Abuja, the capital city of the Federation of Nigeria, for the 19th edition of the Africa International Housing Show. To my fellow ministers, members of parliament, ambassadors, development partners, housing professionals, financial institutions, private sectors, leaders, distinguished delegates across Africa and around the world, we welcome you to Nigeria. We're honored to host you, and I wish you a productive and rewarding experience. Let me begin by commending the organizers of the Africa International Housing Show, led by no other person than Barrister Festus Adebayo and his dedicated team that are here, for their consistency and the passion for housing development. As you can see, he's a lawyer, but his passion for housing development, he has turned him into a real estate expert. For almost 2 decades, this show has been a very key platform for shaping the housing discourse on the continent. Your work has not only enriched our understanding, but also forged enduring partnerships that continue to move the housing delivery forward. Nigeria celebrates your efforts. Africa recognizes your impact, and the global housing community deeply values your contribution. Distinguished participants, what brings us together, as said earlier, from the government, financiers, developers, legislators, and even policy makers alike, is our shared desire to solve housing crisis by learning from each other, exploring innovative approaches, and working collaboratively to provide decent, affordable shelter for our people. But let us be honest about the biggest elephant in the room. Already, Professor Jerry Ghana has already identified it. The biggest challenge in the room is the challenge for affordability. Across the continent, the housing deficit is not only a question of supply, but also access. Too many people, even when housing is available, simply you cannot afford it. Incomes are low, not only in Nigeria, but across Africa. That's why the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR is focused not only on building houses, but also on fixing structural and macroeconomic foundations that will make housing affordable and sustainable today and in the long run. The government is taking bold steps to stabilize the economy, strengthen the naira, raise real incomes, and reduce inflation. These efforts are already beginning to show results, and they are laying the groundwork for housing market where Nigerians can truly own or rent homes that reflect their income levels and living realities. I must say that this conviction is at the heart of the Renewed Hope Housing Program. The program reflects a clear strategy for reimagining housing delivery across these tiers. First, as we all know, is the Renewed Hope cities, which are large-scale urban developments with integrated infrastructure for construction in Nigerian cities, in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Enugu, Maiduguri, Kaduna, and Nasarawa. These are the urban centers where we have a influx of rural-urban migration. The second is the Renewed Hope Estates, which are medium-sized density residential clusters located in each of the 30 states of the Federation. The third component is the Renewed Hope Social Housing Estate, which aim to provide deeply affordable homes for low-income Nigerians, supported by targeted government subsidies to ensure affordability to be situated in each of the 774 local government areas. You recognize that government alone cannot mobilize the funding required to fix the housing need. This we know even up an issue. So we are leveraging the public-private partnerships with reputable developers to deliver the Renewed Hope cities, which target to high-income earners. So far, we have attracted over 70 billion in private sector capital. Under this framework, government creates the enabling environment, provides the bankable offtake guarantees, access to infrastructure while developers deliver the houses. We encourage more developers with the technical and financial capacity to come on board. We are open for business. To deepen the mortgage market and increase the home ownership, the government has also set up the MOPI Real Estate Investment Fund, which is MREIF. This will mobilize blended finance drawn in public and private capital to provide more longer-term mortgages and a 12% interest rate per annum to Nigerians. So recognizing the reality that not everyone is ready to buy a home, we are also introduced two groundbreaking interventions at Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. We have the rent-to-own scheme, which allows eligible Nigerians to move into homes while paying monthly toward ownership. There's also the rental assistance product, which helps Nigerians pay their annual rent in advance while with flexible monthly repayment terms. And then these are practical tools to ease housing pressure, particularly for urban working families. Our commitment also extends to the National Urban Renewal and Slum Upgrade Program, which prioritizes infrastructure improvement, housing rehabilitation, and service delivery in underserved communities. These efforts align with the UN Habitat Global Action Plan for Slum Transformation and the Addis Declaration adopted at the 2024 African Union Forum, which commits African governments to leave no one and no place behind. However, as we all know that real progress must happen beyond the federal level. The biggest gaps in housing delivery are at the subnational levels, where many state governments lack the technical capacity, planning systems, and financial tools to act decisively. That's why I'm happy that many state governors have sent their representatives here today. That's why I'm pleased to announce that our plan to launch a state-by-state home ownership and housing development campaign is a high-impact outreach initiative in collaboration with the state governments and private sector and development partners. The goal is to bridge the gap between national housing policy and the state-level execution, while empowering citizens with the knowledge and tools to access affordable housing opportunities. So as part of the initiative, we aim to embed housing reform champions as special advisors to state governors that will convene state housing roundtables to review existing housing development plans and provide technical advisory, develop actionable roadmaps, and offer hands-on support to structure viable projects and unlock financing. The campaign will also ensure alignment with federal programs, thereby enabling states to access funding and technical support from institutions such as the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, the Nigerian Mortgage Refinance Corporation, NMRC, the Family Homes Fund, the Mortgage Refinance, Murphy Real Estate Investment Fund, MRIF, the Shelter Africa Development Bank, and others. I therefore call on our development partners, the DFIs, the donor agencies, and private sector leaders to support this initiative. Let us take the knowledge we share in conferences like this and transform it into concrete action in our communities. To underscore the government's renewed political will to housing delivery, we have also finalized plans to establish an expert-led National Housing Policy Coordination and Monitoring Committee to evaluate and report on the implementation of the National Housing Policy and related housing sector programs. As said by some of our observers that mentioned about the special advisor or the chairman presidential committee on tax reform is here in this forum, was to inform that the National Land Administration Documentation and Titling Program is being run by the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development in conjunction with World Bank. We intend to unlock over 300 billion naira in debt capital. We want to increase land formalization by 50% in the next 5 years. So Mr. Tayo, the Chairman Presidential Committee on Tax Reform, is a good partner to help realize this vision. So also the issue of the cost of building materials. The ministry has already championed the establishment of building material manufacturing hubs, one in each geopolitical zone of the country. At the moment, currently, we have got to land, one in down south, one in the down north, and one at the center. And this land has been acquired, and the project is about to take up because since the land has been acquired, the designs have already been done, and we have also secured some investors who are willing to come and invest in the construction of the building material manufacturing hubs. We are already discussing with the ICRC, who are the regulators of the PPP projects, whereby we have already secured the online business case, which is the OBC, for the takeoff of the project soon. So also the issue of the economy, I intend to forward this to the external management team, to whom the government have confirmed to you we are doing a lot on that. On the CRR, which the presenter of the keynote speaker has mentioned, I'm happy to know that the CRR, which is the cash reserve ratio, the CBN, could be used for this. We are intending initially to use the pension funds in some of this. But you know, pension funds come with high return on investments and high profit. But the CRR, which has a very low or even no much of the interest that will come on board will be leveraged to see what you could do about it, especially in our desire for the renewed hope cities that we are doing in each of the physical zone of the countries. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to know that housing is not a privilege, it's a right. It is not just a roof, it is the bedrock of health, dignity, productivity, and national stability. When we invest in housing, we are investing in people, in jobs, in cities, and in the future. That's why any engagement we have with the National Assembly, we always bring this to their knowledge, that housing is investing in people, in jobs, cities, and even the future. And there's a need to always increase the funding from the government, and then also to liberalize any access to finance for the private investors. Let us reimagine boldly, let us collaborate sincerely, and let us legislate wisely. And let us build Africa we desire, so that one home at a time. I hereby, at this juncture, declare the 19th International Housing Show open. Thank you, and I wish you successful and impactful 19th International Housing Show. God bless you, God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and God bless Africa. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you give him a standing ovation, please? The Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, enumerating the achievements and the plans of the housing sector. Please, a round of applause for him. Housing is not privilege. It is a right, he says. Please take your seat. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, we pause to recognize outstanding leadership and transformative impact in the housing and infrastructure space across Nigeria. It is my distinct honor to present or to announce these awards. First, to the Minister, the Honorable Minister of Housing, whose vision, commitment, and policy leadership continues to shape and move inclusive and resilient housing sector for our nation. We also recognize select state governments whose bold investment in infrastructure have not only improved the quality of life for their citizens, but have set new standards for sustainable development across Africa. These awards are not just tokens of appreciation, they are symbols of excellence, accountability, and the shared dream of a better housed Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development have won the Best Service Award. Please, a round of applause under the leadership of the Minister, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa. This award will be presented on Friday during the dinner. Also, the Bauchi State Government have won the Infrastructure Award. A round of applause for them. Likewise, the Kano State Government and the Sokoto State Governments. Please, a round of applause for them. The presentation of these awards will be done on Friday during our dinner. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we'd like to call on Barrister Festus Adebayo to give the vote of thanks. And after that, the Honorable Minister, the board members will lead the Honorable Minister, the board members of the Africa International Housing Show will lead the Honorable Minister and the special guests here present to inspect the booths. Honorable Minister, a lot of the people outside there are waiting for you. In fact, someone asked me, when is the minister coming? I said, calm down. He'll be there very soon. Can someone get us Barrister Festus, please, quickly? Or if it's not around, I would like to call on the MDCO, Eximia Realty Limited, Mr. Oguniron, to give the vote of thanks. Please, a round of applause for him. The board members will lead the dignitaries to inspect the booths immediately after this vote of thanks. Please, another round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, MC. I give this vote of thanks on behalf of the board of AIHS. First of all, we give glory to the Almighty God. This is the 19th edition of this event. And we know that in this country, it is not easy to start a business and nurture the business beyond 5-10 years. So we are grateful. What Festus started as a small seed, that he invited some of us to join him on the board to this big international event that we all are witnessing today. And we say, to God be the glory. For this year's event, I think we must especially appreciate the Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. First of all, you will see that he's here with a full team, and he has collaborated fully with AIHS in organizing this event. I think this is the kind of collaboration. I'm always an apostle of winning collaboration, and I think that our minister deserves a very resounding applause. We want to thank all those who have come for the conference. Immediately after the exhibition, we're going to have a conference Our speakers are ready. The participants are ready. So all those who have come for the conference, we thank you always for showing your support. And for the have covered 40 countries from all over the world, we want to thank you for making the AIHS your point of choice every year. I want to thank everybody. To our friends from Ghana, I thank you especially. I like that your address, and like the MC has advised, please make sure you taste our jollof country. On that note, we'd like to thank everybody, and we wish you successful conference from now till the end. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you, sir. Thank you. He will now go through and say hello to our VIPs, still on behalf of the board. The Lagos State team, Honorable now for Works, for Housing Lagos State, Honorable Moruf Akinderu Fatai. We want to thank them also for coming through. Please put your hands together for the Lagos team. Lagos, thank you. Eko Nibajo. I know that the minister had delivered his address, but we will need him to formally declare this conference and exhibition open. And then totally we will take a group message we'll take a group photograph for those in front. The photographer said they will need that very importantly. Please, whoever is with the GPRS for Barrister Festus should tell him that is needed here. Honorable Minister, sir, can we take that group photograph now? Can we come up, please? Yes, our board members, please, can we have you join them, please?
While that is ongoing, ladies and gentlemen, may I quickly recognize the presence of the immediate past president of the Mortgage Bankers Association of Nigeria, and also the MDCO City Code Mortgage Bank, Mark Yoroki. Please, a round of applause for him. You're welcome, sir.
To also inform us that there are tea breaks at different points. We can just have you take tea as you go. Immediately after this, we will take the national anthem to formally close ceremony, and immediately after that, we'll go in for the inspection of the exhibition booths. Sound, are you ready, please? Take the national anthem, please, to formally close this session. Can we take the national anthem, please?
Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign fatherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang on to our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build on this rest. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister and VIPs, please will invite Barrister Festus to join. I guess the President introduced the new national anthem. It was long enough to have him join us. It was done because of him. Presidents of professional bodies, can we have you join? The BOT Chairman of Redan, thank you very much, sir. President, the Honorable Minister will now lead this entourage that is taking this group picture now to go and see our exhibition stands. You will see how beautiful Nigerians and how innovative we have become. Thank you very much. A lot of it is because of the Honorable Minister for the good work you have done, for providing ground and opportunity and access so that we can achieve this. All professional bodies are here. I'm sure we'll take this.
Thank you. Can we, so that these people, the presidents of professional bodies, can join in the photograph? Those on stage now can go down, please. The Honorable Minister, please, you can stand with the special guests.
Our chairman, please remain. Our
chairman, please remain so that the professional bodies presidents can snap. Thank you. Presidents of professional bodies, please.
Presidents and former presidents, come and join, please.
Honorable Minister, sir, the presidents are coming to snap with you, please. President of professional bodies, please, can we exit the stage?
Hey, you are invited to join us up from HB. Professor from Hong Kong, please join us up here for this group picture. Presidents and presidents of professional bodies, thank you very much. Please, let's have you take a picture. We want to specially appreciate the honorable commissioners from Bauchi, from Kano. Thank you very much for coming to be a part of this.
Yes, indeed, we'd really like to have Dr. May Ahmed, all the way from Egypt. Thank you. And of course, Professor Ada Fang, please join us on stage so we can take memorable pictures. Thank you for coming. It's advisable to give a smile.
Presidents of professional bodies, those intending to be president, wait for your turn, please.
Be reminded that we do have a small lunch break so that you take a cup of coffee or a cup of tea on your way out. Indeed, we appreciate your presence and your time. And I dare say that it has been spent meaningfully. Do not forget that we still have the exhibition ongoing. It is our advice that you take a few minutes to look around and see what innovations are taking place, not just in Nigeria, Africa. We have it on good report that a lot of our exhibition stands are occupied by interesting real estate experts from across the continent. So do well to familiarize yourself and get some incredible offers too, I'm told. The Honorable Minister is still on stage.